Hi, Hervin. I'm Aerith. I just turned 60 and I'm considering retiring early. If I do, should I take my CPP now or wait until I am 65? If I keep working, I'll earn the same salary, $90,000 per year, plus raises. I've sent you a summary of my assets. I don't really have any liabilities right now. Aside from trying to understand if I am ready to retire, I really want to know more about the CPP.
So when's the best time for me to take CPP? I don't know. I don't know you, right? So I can't answer that. But to help you further, I created a case study, and that's what this video is all about. This is a part of our CPP series, and my hope is that this bridges into our overall retirement readiness series. I already did a video on the CPP basics, the CPP break-even calculation, the reasons to take CPP early, and the reasons to take CPP later. If you haven't seen those videos yet, be sure to check them out, and the links are in the descriptions below. The whole playlist took a whole lot of time, so if you got any value out of it, I would greatly appreciate if you like this video. It really does help our channel grow. It helps us get across more people that needs information like this. Why did I decide to create a case study when this actually took a lot more work than I thought it would? There are a number of reasons why a case study like this is worth building out. Number one, every piece of information or financial advice out there has boundary conditions. It makes sense once you get to a certain threshold, and eventually it might not work for you anymore after you hit a certain point. So some of the things that works for other people won't necessarily work for you. So case studies allow us to illustrate that. The thing is, what you don't know can and will hurt you in retirement. Maybe seeing somebody else's case, the impact of slight changes that we make in somebody else's retirement plan, and seeing how that works can help set off your spider senses when it comes to analyzing the actions that you're about to take. Retirement planning is complex, right? There's a lot of layers and a lot of levers that you can pull, and it's worth understanding what the costs are of these seemingly minute decisions. These case studies, as we build them out, will be a little bit more organic. As you bring in more questions, we might come up with different content. It'll be an amalgamation of the clients that I've met over the years and the questions that you bring forward. I also know that there are advisors that watch this channel. Some are in different areas of focus and some are new. I'm creating content that I wish I was able to watch and learn from when I was getting started and when I first got into this field. So let's recap our client case study. This is her financial information. She has $400,000 in RRSPs, $100,000 in TFSA, and nothing in non-registered accounts right now. Her home is worth $500,000 and she is mortgage free. She would receive $750 from CPP if she took it today. We then scaled that up if she was going to take it at 65 or at 70 when we review those scenarios. She qualifies for the full OAS benefit. Her main question right now is that if she retires today, does it make sense to take the CPP right away, defer it to 70, or wait until she's 65? Now, I have to give you a disclaimer. This case study is not intended to be financial advice. Even though your case may sound similar to this, there are so many small nuances that could make your situation totally different. I'm an advisor, but I'm not your advisor. I know nothing about you. So please take this as guidance on what you need to explore further with the people that you trust around you. I'm laying everything out in this video to focus solely on the CPP take-up. I'm not changing OAS. I'm not optimizing for her income target. She didn't even tell us. We don't even know how much she thinks she really needs for retirement, right? I'm not maximizing. I'm not trying to get the biggest estate possible. I just want to show you what the impact is of CPP and when you take that. I'm not budgeting for any specific goals. In real life, you will have dedicated dollars to different goals that come up. You'd have changing income needs every year. You'll likely spend more during the first decade of retirement. The industry calls this the go-go years. Then you'll likely slow down in the next decade after that. We call that the slow-go years. And in the last leg of retirement, we call it the no-go years. Your expenses could either go up or it could drop even more. That's all determined by your own health situation. If there's potential healthcare issues and healthcare concerns later on, then you might have to allocate for more as you get older. But that's not the case for everybody. This case study is not reflective of those different income levels. We'll model her income to be flat, but it'll be inflation adjusted throughout her retirement. That becomes our sole metric when looking at the most favorable CPP take-up for Aerith. That's it. We're just looking at which answer or which CPP take-up will give her the highest income given the parameters we have. I want to make this explicit, okay? Analyzing the CPP alone does not mean that you have a solid financial plan. I would go as far to say that given the sample client information we have, this would actually be a crummy plan if you stopped here. I would not recommend this to a client, and you shouldn't follow this simply by looking at where the income was higher. The sad thing is, some of you might unknowingly be following a plan similar to this, where you're just so siloed, you're just looking at one item in retirement, and you're making all of your decisions around that. In all the scenarios, I run the calculations until she's 90. The first thing that probably popped in your mind was, I'm not going to live until 90. I'm not going to live until 90. That's just absurd. Maybe. But when it comes to creating a retirement plan, we have to test for longevity. And in some cases, I even run it until 100 if it's a couple. Be sure to address that and have that conversation with your planner when you're having a meeting. I also followed FP Canada's assumptions guidelines for 2023. That's the most recent one when I prepped for this video. As a certified financial planner, I'm not really bound to the results because I don't know the future, right? So that makes us dangerous. However, as professionals, we are bound to our process. The assumptions guide is designed to keep our own biases in check and protect consumers like you from overly lofty assumptions. Just because we look at summaries that show 4 to 5% doesn't mean that we won't welcome high returns, right? I just believe that creating a plan on a lofty set of assumptions is a recipe for financial disaster. So it's better for you to build out plans that show you how you can achieve what you want out of retirement without having to earn double-digit returns and taking on the risks that are associated with them. So here's a summary of our assumptions again and the inputs that we will run with these 3 different models. The only thing that changes is CPP uptake, 60, 65, or 70. If she retired today, but waited until 65 to draw her CPP, you can see that all of her income will come from the RRSP and the TFSA from 60 to 64. Her lifetime inflation-adjusted income is $37,335 every year. Please look at the nominal income column. When she's 90, she needs to draw $69,645 from all her income sources just to match what she would be spending today. That shows us that we really need to pay attention to inflation. So that becomes our baseline then. Let's review what it would look like if we took CPP early at 60. Given the same parameters, CPP taken at 60 gives her an after-tax inflation-adjusted income of $34,830, $2,505 less per year. What would you give up if you were told that you needed to reduce your expenses by $2,500 every year? Now, how about if she waited until 70? She will get $38,554 in after-tax inflation-adjusted income. I have to really reiterate that, okay? It's after taxes, it's inflation-adjusted. So waiting until 70 brings a total annual income increase of $1,219 when comparing it from 65 to 70, and an extra $3,724 per year once you compare taking CPP at 60 versus 70 years old. Now, you may sneeze at these numbers because frankly, they're not that big sounding, right? But please remember, we haven't really optimized anything yet. We're just doing this for information right now. I also want to bring up the total lifetime spent. How much would she have spent throughout her retirement given our different scenarios? Taking the CPP at 60 gives her a total of $1,500,302, while taking it at 65 gives us $1,608,000. and deferring it to 70 gives us $1,660,000 of total retirement income. When you put it in that perspective, these numbers become a lot more significant. So from a raw dollars and cents standpoint, it's clear why deferring the CPP to 70 is worth considering. I'm not saying you should do it, but it's definitely worth looking at. We can stop our analysis there if income is all we wanted to check. But I want to remind you that financial planning is about understanding the trade-offs that we're making today and being informed with our choices. Let's look at the impact of this decision to defer CPP when it comes to Aerith's estate and what that would look like. Let's review it at age 80, 85, and 90. At age 80, if she took CPP at age 60, her after-tax estate is $967,446. Taking it at 65, her after-tax estate is $926,175. If she waited until age 70, it's $876,891. So that's the smallest estate so far. At age 85, that trend continues. In a scenario where she takes it at 60, it's $993,360. She takes it at 65, it's $951,876. With the age 70 take-up, her estate is $920,000. So this proves my point that if you have a shortened life expectancy, I would really favor taking the CPP sooner. But if I was really that certain about a shortened life expectancy, I wouldn't just look at this from a CPP standpoint. I would actually also accelerate how much income I draw from my assets if I was that sure. So please don't look at just the CPP alone. I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but please look at everything else that's happening in your financial life. What other accounts do you have? Who do you need to provide for? And what do you really want to happen if you're faced with a shortened life expectancy? Or the opposite of that, right? Like what if longevity runs in the family? Maybe planning until 90 is not a long enough time horizon. This estate gap in this case is not as large. That's because at age 80, most of the estate value is coming from the primary residence. I know that I said that this video is solely for CPP, but can we just take a second, pause, and look at those values? Those are big numbers. If she followed a plan like this, which very likely a lot of you will, where you just want to pay off your home and you'll never touch it or you'll see it as a backup plan, if she followed this, she's dying rich, but she forced herself to live a life of sacrifice, essentially, because she'll be living on less than what she actually has available to her. Why do that if she has no estate plans and if she's got no kids or nobody to give that benefit to? It seems like it's aimless. So I looked at a model and just asked, what would her income look like if we downsized? I looked at a scenario where if she decided to downsize, she could sustain an after-tax income of $1,000 a year for the first 5 years, so she can travel a little bit more, and then that drops down to from 65 onwards, simply by considering downsizing. Of course, that reduced her estate, but based on what we know about her right now, there doesn't seem to be a need for it. So what are my key takeaways here? Number one, your decision will be based on what you are trying to optimize for. Do you want a bigger estate or do you want a higher income? A few notes to remember: we haven't adjusted for OAS yet. We will do that in one of the later follow-up videos. We also haven't really seen what she wants to do with her estate and how it would impact her sustainable income if we were willing to downsize. And of course, we haven't adjusted for her overall tax bill yet. Remember, this exercise was solely to show you the importance of thinking about CPP timing correctly. We haven't even addressed basic issues yet, like, is the income that we're projecting for enough for her? Do you think it is? Let me know in the comments below. In a real engagement, I would clarify that early on. I would try to get a gauge of how much somebody actually needs to live the life they believe to be a good retirement. Sometimes people ask us questions about early retirement because it's still exploratory. But there are also other people that just see early retirement as a non-negotiable. We would work that out with our clients and then make adjustments to see what we could do to help them meet that requirement to retire early and meet that income threshold that they want. Sometimes this desire to retire early is driven by health, or they're just totally done with their jobs. I don't know what it would be like for you, but please understand that right now, this was just to set a baseline. Then we will make decisions on top of what we learn together. I'll see you next week. I hope this was helpful. Please leave us a like, let us know, give us some feedback. I really appreciate it. See you soon.